Bonjour. Si je vous dis Tébrium, ça ne vous dit rien. Normal, ça a disparu. L'argent, il en reste presque plus. Le zinc, le cuivre, le phosphate, il n'y en a plus que pour quelques années. Les matières disparaissent. Non, nous gaspillons nos matières premières, nous gaspillons nos propres ressources. Pour l'instant, la planète nous fait crédit. Nous devons faire circuler les ressources pour les préserver. C'est ça l'économie circulaire. Nous devons nous poser sur un autre mode qui est la circulation des ressources pour les préserver. Circuler, c'est-à-dire optimiser à chaque étape de la matière pour toujours la préserver. Préserver, c'est optimiser chaque cycle d'utilisation du produit et les ressources, c'est notre élément de base. Je vous dis ça parce que nous avons des soucis. Je vous dis ça parce que notre modèle linéaire, comme le disait Einstein, notre modèle linéaire, tous les jours nous rappelle que nous sommes dans le trou. La croissance exponentielle de l'humanité, la croissance des coûts matières, les déchets, les impacts environnementaux, ce modèle n'est plus d'actualité. Et pourtant, nous avions un modèle de production qui nous a permis d'atteindre notre niveau de vie actuel. Un modèle dit linéaire. Je prélève les matières premières, je transforme les matières premières, je consomme les matières premières, je jette les matières premières. Je prélève, je consomme, je jette. Ceci n'est pas tenable quand nos ressources ne sont pas renouvelables. J'ai perdu le son, je l'ai retrouvé. Quand une quantité limitée de ressources est disponible. Ceci nous a permis d'avoir un certain progrès, mais nous devons nous transformer, nous devons changer, nous devons partir sur d'autres modèles. Réduire l'impact, c'est un premier pas, indispensable. Indispensable pour tenir encore quelque temps, c'est-à-dire juste reculer l'échéance. Il est construire. Il ne faut plus que je bouge ou je prends le micro. Main.
Micro à vos pieds au cas où.
Bon, j'ai essayé de plus trop bouger alors. Excuse-moi. En plus, il marche. Donc, il est nécessaire de revoir notre modèle et surtout, je vais reprendre, avoir une démarche beaucoup plus ambitieuse que simplement réduire l'impact sur lequel nous sommes engagés actuellement par la préservation de nos ressources. Réduire l'impact n'est pas suffisant. Nous devons avoir une démarche beaucoup plus ambitieuse, une démarche qui est créatrice de valeur, qui créera de la valeur positive sur tous les plans, le plan social, sur le plan environnemental et sur le plan économique. C'est ça l'économie circulaire, qui, à l'aide de boucles positives, sans cesse, réinjecte la matière, réinjecte le produit pour ne pas le perdre, pour le conserver en permanence la matière. Différents champs d'action, mais je souhaiterais d'abord indiquer que nous devons avant tout nous poser des questions sur notre modèle de consommation, notre modèle de vente. Il est nécessaire aujourd'hui de passer de l'acquisition des biens à l'usage des biens. Une autre économie à mettre en œuvre, une autre façon de consommer, une autre façon de distribuer. Ensuite, il sera temps de éco-concevoir pour penser la matière de son utilisation première jusqu'à ses réutilisations en fin de cycle. Ce sera aussi réparer, c'est aussi recycler, c'est aussi réutiliser.
Recycling, it means reusing, it means giving a new purpose to this material. Circular economy is also a local economy based on local cooperation, working together inside the territories so that the inbound flow of someone would be the outbound flow of somebody else, and the other way around. It's industrial ecology. And all this brought together, which seems to be mere common sense. As Vincent said before, this will have positive impact. well, if I can get this moving, $380 billion in savings for Europe. That's what the McKinsey survey showed. And this is the conservative aspect, because they say that we can actually go up to 700 billion euros in savings. Savings on resources, raw materials, which would not be used, on all the waste that would not be buried, on all the environment that would not be damaged. It is also an economic cycle based on jobs. The jobs should be much more local, much more anchored in the reality of the different territories. We also want to have an economy that generates purchasing power, because you can do away with the material waste. It's a waste on our purchasing power. We also need to have a more robust economy, or companies which are more robust because they are rooted in the territories, because they source their products in the territories, and therefore they are much better protected from the effects of globalization. So how can we change this model? Well, we need to place circular economy at the center of our policies. Some countries have started doing that. In Japan, for example, 10 years ago, they started with a framework law on circular economy. They have a program, they have an agenda to review their objectives, to make sure that this framework law can be applied everywhere, and to make sure that they can thus preserve resources. You've got China. In 2008, they passed a law on circular economy. It's a law which is based on some city projects that will grow their economy on this concept of preserving natural resources. Then you've got the Netherlands. That's in Europe. They are moving to an incentive type of programs and motivation of the different stakeholders, but they have very ambitious projects for their territories. They are trying to see how they can use their own resources rather than copying a model coming from somewhere else. And then you've got the Rotterdam harbor, which has decided that one of its 2 priorities for future development would be circular economy, plus the extension of the port. So the city has decided to preserve resources in order to grow. The European Commission, in one of the directives, you have something about preserving resources. Circular economy is one of the fundamentals of the Europe of tomorrow. What about France then? Well, in France, we have the Institute of Circular Economy, which was founded by myself 8 months ago. It brings together members of parliament, institutions, authorities, economic players, big companies, small companies, NGOs, universities, schools, and they all work together to better define the vision of circular economy, to share it and to promote it. The president has also given a speech about circular economy. To him, it's one of the objectives for 2025. He explained that circular economy will be one of the strategic pillars of France in 2025, and so we have to get into it. Last week, the environmental conference held 5 roundtables, one of which was about circular economy. This roundtable was chaired by our Minister of Ecology, Philippe Martin, by the Minister of Industrial Production, Arnaud Montebourg, the Ministry of Consumption, Benoît Hamon. So we had this roundtable on circular economy, but it was not only focused on the environment, but it showed that this is really something that has to be addressed by all the aspects of our society. All the people around the table had a shared vision and a shared ambition. The government today has decided to go through one first step, which is waste recycling. Of course, we need to do this, but France needs to better assert its strategic vision by implementing its own model for circular economy, by setting a framework law, just as they did in Japan, in order to define France's ambition, France's vision for its future development, in order to go out of this linear economy model. And now, this is my conclusion, but it's only the beginning of things, because everything is yet to be invented. We have to invent our future. Of course, we have to work on technology. We have to consider new approaches in terms of organization. We have to rethink our accounting models, our financial models, in order to take into account this absolute necessity of preserving materials. And we need to make the difference between what preserves resources and what does not. We have to address corporate governance in a different way. We have to think up new modes of consumption, which means different education. And then there's everything that I can't say right now, but what I want you to understand is that everything is yet to be done. I think we need to come out of this negative way of using resources and moving towards a much more ambitious development model that will make it possible for a larger part of mankind to have access to the same level of resources, to the same resources. And that is circular economy, and that is what we have to do right now. Thank you. Don't go now. In my introduction, I announced 300 to 500 billion euros in savings because of this economy by 2025. And I think you've even conducted some projections on France, which are not very accurate, of course, for the moment. But these figures are crazy. I mean, how can you reach these numbers? Well, yes. Of course, this report from McKinsey, commissioned by Ellen MacArthur's Foundation, it issued those figures. And I think that if we had a development model on those areas which consume the greatest resources, well, then we would avoid over-consuming resources, but also we would avoid the negative impact on the environment. We would also avoid everything that has to do with waste management. This has a cost. So if there was no waste, and if we could recycle, reuse, use resources and materials at best, well, we would have 300 to 500 billion euros in savings. If we look at what they did in the Netherlands, they did the same as McKinsey, but just with the Netherlands. That was 7 billion euros for them. So if we were to do this in France, we could have between 20 and 50 billion euros worth of savings in our GDP if there was a strong commitment in circular economy. This has been mentioned by McKinsey. And besides, I've ordered a report that should be published in June 2014 that will actually make this figure official and make maybe our vision a little bit clearer and enable France to start up all the reforms which are necessary to shift this paradigm. Well, we love figures, you know, when you look at the newspapers, the forecasts usually are very, very accurate. But here it could be a figure or it could be double. So does this mean that it makes a difference whether we're going to be very ambitious or not? No, it's just that it's very difficult to assess the cost. So we have the low estimate and the higher estimate. It's difficult to foresee how our society is going to evolve, but it just gives you the broad lines. Let's say that McKinsey's report is wrong, and then it would only be 100 billion euros or dollars in savings. Well, still, I mean, we still have to go for it, because everybody has to understand that it goes in the right direction in terms of sustainability, in terms of not using up all the resources, and also in terms of continuing improving and moving forward, and in terms of making sure that as many people as possible can have access to the same standard of living that we are experiencing right now. Okay, so what about employment? We think that if we go from the economy of possession to the economy of usage, we are going to stop consuming, right? But actually, it seems that we consider that what creates jobs is consumption. So we think that if we were into this economy of usage, it would not create jobs. Well, no, actually, it's the opposite. Today, the resources and jobs, and our tax system is so that we waste materials and resources. Everybody knows that it's easier to throw this thing away if it's broke down rather than fixing it. It's easier and it's encouraged. Well, look at some resources which are going to disappear soon. If on these there was a heavy taxation, and if we could alleviate taxes on jobs, well, then people would be more inclined to save, to rescue the resources and the materials. I'm saying rescue because recycling is an option, but before you recycle, you have repair, you have reuse, you have repurpose the materials or the components of the product in itself, if not the product as a whole. Well, the LH Forum is a world event. So you've mentioned Rotterdam, you've mentioned Japan. We like to see very practical things, right? So what about good examples about circular economy that you've seen elsewhere that you would like to import here? Well, there are a lot of good ideas, but I've even seen some of them in France. And I know that a lot of economic players are aware that there are opportunities, and especially when you want to be protected from world competition and you want to be more anchored in your territories. In the Netherlands, I've seen a company, they don't sell floor carpeting anymore, but they sell the usage of carpet. And then they recover their carpets and they can recycle 90% of it. So they are safe from the disappearing of the raw material, because they've got this rotation system, which is so that they always have the necessary material, the carpet. So then the thing is that you have to look at the clout of this company and what it's worth for an accountant or an auditor. It used to be very easy. You had your client portfolio, you had your inventory, you had your capex, and so your company could be valorized on the market. Well, today you still have a customer portfolio, you still have the market, you still have your capital expenditure, but the material inventory is actually scattered among all the clients, and so this material will come back to you into 2017, 2020, and so you have to assess how much this material will be worth when it comes back to your company to be recycled, to redo another carpeting for another client. So it took this company 3 years with a bank to actually define the real value of the company, which of course is much higher than what it would have been in a linear model. Now, maybe a very naive question at the end. It all sounds like common sense. In this room, everybody's convinced that we don't have a planet B, that we should all recycle and reuse, etc. So what are the roadblocks? What prevents us from doing that? Common sense? Yes. The major roadblocks, well, as somebody said from a big real estate company, he said he was in charge of sustainable development, and he said what's most difficult is to change the wheel while you're driving. So today the companies have a business model that is more or less working, and they are asked to change completely, and it's very difficult for them to change their business model for so many reasons. So that's why, as a member of parliament, I really want to try to reassure the people and the companies and to send them a long-term signal that France is involved in the long term with a framework law as they have in Japan, because then they have this programming system which will enable them to move forward, to define objectives for all the industries, and to review these objectives on a regular basis with, if necessary, changes in the law. So the main roadblock is this fear of change, and we have to reassure the companies. And this report that will be published in June should give very encouraging figures, and I think could be very reassuring for a certain number of stakeholders. Okay, thank you very much. We are looking forward to June, and let's not try to change the wheel while we're driving, because this could be very dangerous and lead to an accident. So thank you very much anyway for telling us more about the circular economy. Thank you very much, and many thanks to the LH Forum.